I think it just started.
It started.
Because there's the pause button. I can tap it. Okay, we'll give her a shot. Good morning, Alan.
Good morning, Larry.
We're doing an experiment here. This is our first time we're trying to do a video interview, and Alan Martin just made me a gorgeous little Bucks County Schimmel. And what can you tell me about that guy?
It's skinny.
It sure is. Caliber is
40 caliber, about a 45.5-inch Getz barrel with a small siler lock. Everything else is pretty much handmade as a brass sand casting that would I completely filed up. Piece of wood was all hand shaped. The style of Bucks County, Pennsylvania, about 1780. A poor man's hunting rifle.
Beautiful piece. I really am fascinated with it. I remember telling you I was getting old and weak and bad shoulders, and you said, I can take care of you.
Did I take care of you?
You sure did.
Okay.
Sure did. Where did your passion for building flintlocks start?
I always liked guns, and when I grew up without television, born and raised in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Reading storybooks about the frontier, the coonskin cap,
Oh yeah.
the romance of that, you know, it sort of got me inspired. And I always liked guns. When I was barely a teenager, I was threatening my mother, I'm going to build a rifle. She said, you're too young. But you know what? She was right. When I was about 13, I bought my first piece of wood, a pre-shaped stock from the local sporting goods store, get a Green Mountain barrel, and totally botched the project.
Okay.
I was too late. It didn't work out. But I always had the attitude that I can do it. You know, we can get this done. And I moved away from home when I was about 17, and I moved back home when I was about 21. That's when I got serious about building guns, and started attending the Dixon Gunmakers Fair, and then after I married, I come out to Friendship with Fred Miller and the Getz boys, you know, and met everybody for the first time, you know, and that was in '94. And it's been downhill ever since, you know. It's been really crazy. And then when the CLA, the Contemporary Long Rifle Association, took off in '97, I joined it immediately, and been a member and haven't missed a show yet. And being a member of the Kentucky Rifle Association, handling the original rifles, I still get goosebumps when I get a new order. I still have a passion after 25 years of attempting to build guns, you know, full-time since 2000. It's been 14 years full-time building guns.
That's cool. I suppose full-time shop to do all this. I don't know where you do your work.
My summer kitchen, right outside the kitchen.
Is that right?
I leave the house without going outside.
Oh, cool.
Walk right into my summer kitchen. So the kids come running, I chase them out. I smell dinner cooking, I know what's cooking, you know. And
There you go.
And I drive my wife nuts when I do, if I do a fancy rifle with a lot of inlays or whatever, I do all the engraving. Last year I did a completely silver mounted gun for my silver anniversary, 25 years of gun making.
Okay.
And had like 20-some inlays on it, which is really gaudy for me. And I was engraving, and my wife says, "Are you done yet?" Yeah.
Hey, tell me, if somebody said money is no object, build me a signature Alan Martin gun, what would it be? It won't be me, I can't afford that. But I'm just really curious to see what you really like to do.
What would I build?
Yeah.
Well, I would have to ask a few questions. Do you like an earlier rifle?
Oh.
Or do you like a golden age, you know, flint rifle? It would probably be you know, a true golden age flint period, nice long barrel, one of a kind piece of wood.
Okay.
If you know, this guy wants to, you know, belly up to the bar, seriously, you know, a fancy ornate patch box and a few inlays and profusely, you know, like relief carved. But I always try to hold my reins back and say, let's keep it in a traditional manner.
Okay.
Too many good gun makers, and we know a lot of them when we go to the COA show, we look at their work, they don't know where to stop.
Okay.
They walk away from the, they leave the traditional behind them, and it doesn't work out. I mean, it does work out for them, but they miss it. Like Earl Lanning said, boy, study the original. It's still the best teacher you got.
Okay.
So I try to keep it in a traditional manner.
Okay. If a guy comes to you and says, "Hey, he lays out specifically what he wants, and it just doesn't go together," do you ever tell a guy, "No, I can't build that"?
I try to correct him and myself before the project even gets down on paper. That ain't going to work, because I mean. A good example is a well-known gun maker a few years ago at the COA show. Very well-known gun maker. He's here at Friendship today, I think. I haven't seen him yet, but he's here somewhere. Anyway, he built a high-end Jaeger, and I thought it was magnificent, but it was really high-end artwork into the 5-digit numbers, you know.
Yeah.
And Jürgen Mallory came over from Germany. I said, "So what do you think of that Jaeger?" He said, I won't repeat what he said. He said, "I don't like it." I said, "Why not?" I had to know. He said, he has a Rhine Valley rifle with a Brandenburg trigger guard.
Oh, okay.
He was mixing schools in Germany, and there's always somebody watching. Somebody always knows.
Yeah.
More than you do.
Okay.
So I always try to stay true with school.
Okay.
It seems that.
Are you ever tempted to build I suppose they call them a bench copy?
I have.
You know? Okay.
Just this year, for Bob Rouse from Virginia, I built him a bench copy of a little skinny Simon Lauf rifle.
Okay.
And it's almost harder to build a bench copy because now you have no reason not to get it right, because you can measure, you know. It's not going to be 100%, there's no way.
Yeah.
The other difference is that gun was built by Simon Lauf. This one was built by Alan Martin. Yeah. And we're different people. Yeah. Our hands move differently. That's what makes this whole craft of gun making and accoutrement making so unique, because everybody does something personal. Yeah. I've heard
other guys say, making a bench copy is really hard.
It can be, yeah. It can be.
Curious. Somebody else I know, a really good gun maker in Southeast PA, had two identical guns that he made, you know, where it wasn't a bench copy of an original, but both of the guns that he made were identical
to one another.
That sounded awfully hard to do too.
Yes, I did. One time I built two guns for a guy here somewhere in Indiana. I brought him out to Friendship. That's been years ago. Oh my goodness. And they were both little Lehigh rifles. And the only thing different was different calibers. Okay. And he was going to go same caliber. I said, "Why did you want to do that for?" You can change calibers. I said, "Yeah." So,
how about over and under? Do you ever build a swivel breech? Do you like them, or do you have a?
I had an order for one time, and then that fell through later on. And I hope I never get the chance to do it again. Because I like them in their own way, but I think they're a bit complicated, over-engineered. To do if you had the perfect action, someday I might build one. But as of right now, I'm with the extensive backlog of guns that I have on order and stuff, you know, and there's a lot of guns I'd rather build than a swivel breech, you know.
How far out are you? I'm just curious. A couple years?
It has been 2 to 3 years for the last 12 or 14 years already. You know, since I've been full-time. It went from, when I was on the cover of Muzzle Blast with my Best of Show Lehigh winner in 2000, July of 2000, it was on the cover of Muzzle Blast. And with that interview that Eric Bai did. And right after that, the phone rang off the wall. I didn't even have a computer yet. I just got my computer that same month. I didn't know how to email. I said, "Could you just call me?" He would send me, you know, I wrote back, like 2-finger typing, you know. And that was the primitive stage of my computer era. But So it's been between a 30 and 40 gun backlog ever since, you know. And I build about 14 to 16 guns a year probably.
That was another question I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Is,
and it depends. I mean, if they would be all plain little hunting guns like this, I could build 20 of them. But do I want to build all just plain hunting guns? You got to mix them up.
Oh yeah.
And I'll even do a high grade bolt action rifle from time to time.
Oh, really?
I just like fine guns, you know. It doesn't. They don't have to be fancy. But they have to be built right.
Yeah.
I like to build my guns from the inside out. If we'd have a screwdriver, I would take the lock out to show you a very detailed lock mortise, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like to just, I mean, if I would hog them out, I can build them even faster, but cutting corners will end up hurting you.
Yeah.
You know, I like to build the guns from the inside out because I always say that a flintlock or a muzzleloader rifle is one of the poorly designed rifles because you have this big barrel coming in here, which is not a big one on this gun, but a big barrel. You have your barrel tang, you have your lock mortise, you have your, if you have a double set trigger, you got that big mortise, and you got the ramrod inside. There's nothing left. No wonder they broke. You know? So I like to leave as much wood, and even on my barrel tang, I like to taper them towards the rear, so there's very little wood inlet. Okay. So why remove more wood than you have to? I like them thicker up towards the bolster because the bolster itself is you want it stronger there, but back here it's easier to inlet, it's less wood to remove. It makes a stronger gun, I think.
You said something to me a night ago about you know, bending the barrel a little bit to line the sights up. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I learned that through the guest barrel shop. They have like an arbor, like a rack and pinion arbor, and then you put it on the barrel on a block. I said, Donnie, I remember going over there the first time I did this, and I said, Donnie, this barrel's shooting way off. Well, give it here. He puts it in there, and we had barrel balancing. I'm like,
scary.
Well, yeah, exactly. As he goes. Then he looked through the bore, you know, that ought to do it. Take it out. It was real close, you know. So after having them do it a couple times, I said, I can do this with my vise. Right? So I just put it in my padded vise jaws, you know, and I'll, of course, out of the gun, of course. And, and if it's shooting, let's say she's shooting low, so you put it in with the sights towards you and just flex it upward. And you don't. I've already bent it too far. You can always just like old Donnie Getz used to say in his Pennsylvania Dutch accent. He said, "Now we can bend it straight." That's how he used to say it. So, and I don't touch the sights after I like my sights nice and centered and you know, nice and look, you know. And then after she's all together, and then I'll just bend it right into the bore. I've already done it at the rifle range. I'll have a screwdriver and a pin punch along, and I'll pop the barrel out. Then we have these 6x6s with, you know, like holding up the roof structure. With
lay on top of those and
on 2x10s, holding up the roof structure, and I'll go up between there and I'll tow it. Bend it right into the bullseye.
Put her back in the gun. Put it off a shot.
Take
it back out if you need to. Oh, that's fun.
Pain in the butt, but it's and the old Herschel house and then the old Foxfire book. Go into the fork of a tree.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
You know, that's the same principle.
Yeah. I remember talking or seeing him. I'm not sure, he might even done that down at the seminar one.
Probably. Something. I mean, you look at original rifles and stuff. Their sights are centered and nice and low. And that's something else. A lot of people, they build very high, goofy looking sights. And we talked about that when I was ready to build this. Oh, no, I got to be able to see. I'm getting older. Chuck Dixon and that from Dixon Mother. Old Chuck. He said, I asked him, I said, so what do you think of those sights? He said, well, a lot of people don't believe me. I said, this is what I believe. I said, them sights are nice and low, like the original, and the gun fits you properly, and you throw the gun to your shoulder, and you're looking right down them sights, right below the bullseye, or the squirrel's head, or the old deer's chest, and you squeeze off. There's no fudging or light. No, he said, finally somebody agrees with me. And he didn't even explain what he was thinking. But that's my concept.
One of the guys that we ate supper with last night shoots a 13-pound offhand gun. Big sights like you were talking about. I handed this gun to him. He picked it up, aimed it, and said, whoa. He said, that is the first light gun that ever pointed exactly where I wanted it. He said, I could shoot that gun. Anyway, so there was a guy on that, you know, heavy barrel, you know, low sight school, or high sight school, that liked this from the very first time he picked it up.
Well, the difference between a 13-pound bench gun shooting paper or silhouettes. These sights won't work for that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking for Christmas, you know. I mean, we just did a little walk. I took the boys up along the range this morning. They're looking at the big bench, and these guys have little diopters or whatever you call them, stick on their glasses, you know, so they're looking at the same spot. I said, these guys are serious shooters. I said, I could never be that.
There's a guy down here 2 years ago. Last name's Mitchell. Had a 100-pound slug gun down there.
Did it shoot better than the 50-pound one?
I don't know. He ended up selling it, but I took a whole bunch of pictures of his gun, and I put an article on my website about it, just because I thought it was such a policy. I mean, it was just a monster. Yeah, I said, "You shoot it much?" And he said, "Well," he said, "I don't shoot it when there's a guy near me that's shooting for record, because of the noise and the stuff that would bother other guys." You know?
Yeah, that's a totally different concept.
Oh yeah,
you know? The way I build, I study the original flint rifles and their main intent of what they were designed for, and you know, traditional hand scraping, hand tools. I use a bandsaw to rough out the barrel blank. I have a friend of mine who has a barrel inletting machine. He inlets the barrel channel for me, but everything else, the lock mortises, you know, everything's done by hand. I like to take them, and I dislike using investment castings when they're already almost finished, you know, and then I just got to polish them up and put them in. I feel like a part builder and not a gun builder. I like taking a rough sand casting, and if I have to bend it to you know, and then hand filing it, it takes longer. The calluses on my hands from filing, from welding the file, you know, hours and hours. But that's the satisfaction. That's the individuality of each gun, you know.
Oh yeah. So I'm gathering the percussion cap shortage is not bothering you at all either.
Is there a shortage?
Well, I hadn't noticed myself, but my friends tell me there is.
No, I don't build percussion guns. I have built a few early on. When you got to make ends meet, you got to make ends meet, you know. But the backlog of high quality raised parchment rifles, from the Schimmel all the way up to, you know, a fancy golden age rifle, intrigued me more. A few years ago, 4 years ago, I was in Germany, and I got to handle a lot of original early real Jaeger. Early flint rifles from 1690 to 1730, iron mounted, big, ballsy, heavy swamp barrels. It opened up a new can of worms. and it made me want to do some research where I'm from. My family came over from Switzerland in 1727, and they settled in that Lancaster County. The Mennonites came over from Switzerland in the 1720s, and my family still lives there today. You know, nothing really changes. So
my ancestors were 1752.
1752?
Yep. Hey, if I'm trying to think, is there any kind of question that I should have asked you about doing your job or doing this kind of stuff that I don't know enough to ask? Anything that?
Not really. I'll talk all day about this. I find the satisfaction. I mean, yeah, the guns are expensive, but what isn't it anymore? You know, a gallon of gas is almost $4 a gallon, and so a flint rifle of this nature would, you know, today I would charge just for about $3,500 for this rifle today. You have to stay with the times. I'm raising a family. One of my good friends and one of my best clients gave a seminar at the Gunmakers Fair last year at Dixon's on gun collecting.
Oh yeah,
different. Cool. That was really cool. He said, I used a statement. He said, when a gun maker asks his price, don't try to chisel him down, because this is his bread and butter. Nobody, your boss don't like to take money away from you, or you might like to, but you know, it's the same difference.
Just puts groceries on the
table. I mean, everybody knows how much they need to survive, you know, and that was really a good. I never looked at it that way, but somebody's always out there to get a bargain. And some of these people have more money than they'll ever use in their lifetime. They're doctors or lawyers or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So, but what I like about gun making is the people that I meet. You know, if I was in construction, building houses for some Amish contractor back home, I wouldn't get to meet the people like yourself, like my friends in Germany, all over the the globe pretty much. Have met people. And, it's been a nice ride.
That's cool.
It's been a cool ride.
That's cool. Any of your kids interested in doing this kind of thing?
I think they would be more interested in shooting than they would be the building, but I don't pressure. I encourage in my own little feeble way, maybe. Sometimes the way Dad does things is totally stupid. I'm just a dumb father, come on.
You know, but when they reach 20, they'll be amazed at how much you learned in just a couple years.
Yeah, you know? Oh, exactly, exactly. This kind of craft or anything in this world, you gotta wanna.
Yeah.
You really gotta have the desire. And when I was a kid, my mom always said, out of all these kids, you're the worst. I remember her saying that. I was about 13 or 14 years old. I mean, my first catalog, I mean, my first reference to Kentucky rifle was a CVA catalog.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, the Kentucky rifle is so cool. And then acquaintance back home, I remember the day I was down with the flu, and he gave me his old Dixie Gunwork catalog.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was like the heavens opened up. All them black and white photos with the grids in the background, you know. Yeah. And next thing you know, I was writing up gun orders. I'll take this part. I'll take that part. I'll take this, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And I had gun orders. I'm going to build these guns. I never built any of them. But the passion that I had back, you know, that's the main thing. And some people, a lot of people, custom gun makers will start building guns after they're retired. I always tell people, I guess I'm already retired, you know, so.
Self-employed anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's the hardest part about being a full-time gun maker, you know, making the paycheck.
Okay.
You know, getting guns done in time for a certain event, so I can deliver or ship.
Yeah.
You know, and but I tell people up front, you know, 2 to 3 year backlog, so don't be mad if I didn't say so.
Yeah.
You know, and try to get them done in a timely fashion without cutting corners. That's,
there you go.
You know.
Well, hey, this has been fun. Thank you,
Larry.
very much.
Yes.
And let's get some pictures of you and the kids and all that kind of stuff.
Sounds good.